Every birthday growing up came with a lesson. Not in candles, not in gifts, but in how quickly my day could become hers. If Anya cried, my cake got delayed. If she pouted, my presents got shared. If she had a mood, my joy was put on hold. I learned early how to step aside with a smile. How to clap for myself quietly so she wouldn't feel overshadowed. But my 18th birthday, the one milestone that was finally supposed to be mine, ended with my parents saying, "We're canceling. Your sister isn't feeling well." And instead of screaming, I walked to my room, packed a suitcase, and left before anyone could guilt me into staying. That night, while they blew out 0 candles for me, I quietly began the life they never imagined I'd build. And what I watched from the outside afterward made their entire house unravel. If you grew up with a golden child in the house, you already know how this story works. My name is Laura. My sister's name is Anya. If you stand in our living room for 5 minutes, you'll know which one of us the house was built around. Anya's framed certificates cover the walls, even though most of them are participation awards, and one summer camp Best Smile ribbon. My achievements live in a folder in the cupboard, under old electricity bills and a bag of spare buttons. It wasn't always obvious, the favoritism. When we were really young, it just felt like gravity. I remember the day I realized gravity had a name. I was 7. Anya was 5. It was raining hard. Texas rain, the kind that sounds like it's gonna punch through the roof. The power had gone out. Mom lit candles and brought us both to the living room. Our old rattling fan was finally silent, replaced by the sound of rain and the occasional thunder rumble that made our windows buzz. I loved storms. They made the world outside match the noise inside my head. We had one big, heavy blanket. Faded blue, a little scratchy but warm. Mom spread it over the 3 of us on the floor. Lightning flashed. Anya shrieked and grabbed Mom's arm. "Can we close the curtains?" she gasped. "I'm scared." Mom smoothed her hair. Okay. She stood, pulling most of the blanket with her by accident. Slid off me completely. The cold hit my legs in a rush. "I'm cold," I said softly. Mom was already at the window, fussing with the curtains to block the flashes. Anya sat in the center of the blanket now, wrapped like a burrito. Only her small face showed. I pulled at the corner. "Move over a little." Anya yanked it back. "No, I'm scared." I looked at my mother, hoping she'd say something. "Can we share?" Mom glanced over, then at Anya's trembling lip. "She's scared, Laura," she said. "You're brave, nah. You can handle it for a bit." She blew me a little kiss like that made it better. I stretched my legs, tried to cover my knees with my too thin pajamas, and nodded. That was the first time I remember thinking, if it's between my comfort and her feelings, I already know who loses. It was small. Blanket. Storm. But life just kept scaling that moment up. At 9, Anya drew a lopsided sun and stick figures. My parents stuck it on the fridge and called it artistic. That same year, I won a regional writing contest. My story got printed in a local magazine. Mom read the first paragraph, smiled, and said, "Very nice," before going back to helping Anya practice for her school talent show, lip-syncing to some pop song with fake confidence. At 12, we both auditioned for the same school play. I memorized my lines. I practiced with the mirror. I actually wanted it. Anya got the lead. Not because she was better, she wasn't, but because she cried when they tried to give her a smaller part. "Don't make a fuss," Dad told me. "She really wanted it. You're good at everything. She just needs this one." Everybody said some version of that growing up. Just let her. You're the older one. You're the calmer one. You understand. By the time we hit high school, the roles were concrete. Anya was the sensitive one. I was the stable one. More responsibilities quietly landed on me. If Mom had a long shift, I was the one who cooked. If Dad forgot to sign something for school, I was the one who forged his signature. If Anya had a meltdown over a grade, I was the one who stayed up late helping her with homework, even when my own exams were the next morning. I learned to say, "It's okay," before anyone even apologized. The worst part. Sometimes I believed them. Maybe I was stronger. Maybe being the one who understood meant I was more mature, more evolved. Then I turned 16 and something cracked that never fully healed. It was my sweet 16, which in our house just meant, you can invite a few extra people and maybe we'll order real pizza instead of frozen. I made a list of 6 friends. Not popular kids. Just mine. I even drew little doodles around their names. Felt big. Anya came into my room the night before, flopped onto my bed and said, "I don't want strangers in my house after all. Can you invite them somewhere else?" "They're not strangers," I said, laughing. "You know all of them. And it's one afternoon." She rolled onto her back, staring at the ceiling. "I just feel off, like they'll judge me. I don't want to be here when they are." "So go to a friend's," I said. Her eyes filled with tears instantly. "Why do I have to leave? It's my house too." My chest tightened. "Yeah. And it's my birthday." She stormed out. An hour later, Mom called me to the kitchen like it was a business meeting. "Can we maybe make it a family-only thing?" she asked. "Anya's uncomfortable. You know how she gets." "You already said yes," I said. "I already invited them." Sighed. "We haven't had peace in weeks. Your father is tired. Please, Lara. Be understanding. You'll have more birthdays. Right now we need to manage her mood." Manage her mood. My 17th year. Run not on cake, but on eggshells. Cave. Called my friends. Made up some story about a relative visiting. We had a quiet family thing. It's a one candle stuck in a supermarket cake. Anya posted a selfie from that night. "Hate parties. Love my sister. She gets it, black heart." The comments said, "You're so lucky to have a sister like her." I read them from my bed, phone lighting up my face in the dark. Lucky. On paper I was. Nobody hit me. We had food. We had Netflix. But behind all that was this constant truth. I did not live in a house where my happiness was allowed to inconvenience someone else's mood. So when my 18th birthday started approaching, I made a quiet promise to myself. This one will be mine. Not extravagant. Not huge. Just mine. I started planning early, partly because I love organizing, partly because I didn't trust anyone else to protect it. I made a budget out of my part-time job money. Simple decorations. A decent cake from a bakery that didn't use that weird plasticky icing. Homemade food so my parents didn't have to spend much. Kept it small, 8 people. Friends who had seen me cry, not just laugh. People who knew my parents only from stories, not from their good guest faces. To my surprise, my parents actually seemed supportive. Dad said, 18 is big. We should do something nice. Mom said, don't worry, this time we'll handle everything. You just relax. A red flag should have gone off right there. But I wanted to believe them. We hung fairy lights on the porch the night before. Anya even helped, untangling a few strands before getting bored and going inside to scroll through her phone. I laid out plates, labeled each dish I planned to cook, told my friends what time to come. For the first time in a long time, I went to bed excited. I imagined it. Music playing softly. My friends laughing in our cramped living room. My parents maybe, just maybe, seeing me the way I'd seen Anya at all her parties. Centered. Celebrated. I fell asleep making mental playlists. When I woke up, the house was already buzzing. Pots clanged in the kitchen. The smell of frying onions filled the air. My own decorations were up, twinkling. Felt like a movie montage. I walked into the kitchen grinning. Hair a mess, oversized t-shirt hanging off one shoulder. Mom was at the stove. Dad sat at the table sorting something on his phone. "Good morning," I sang. "Birthday girl reporting in. Need help?" They both looked at me. Something in their faces made my stomach drop before they said a word. Mom's eyes were tight around the edges. Dad's mouth was a flat, unreadable line. "What happened?" asked slowly. Dad sighed. "Lara, we need to talk." "Oh, not today." Every cell in my body wanted to bolt, to run back to bed and reset the day. "What?" I forced myself to ask. Mom turned off the stove. The silence after the click was too loud. "It's about tonight," she said. "About the party." My throat went dry. "What about it?" Dad rubbed his forehead. "Your sister isn't doing well. She had a breakdown last night. We were up till 3. She's still not okay." "So," I said, heart hammering, "she can stay in her room." "My friends." Mom flinched. "She doesn't want people over. Is fragile right now. She said if the house is full of noise tonight, she'll do something stupid." I stared at her. "She said that." Mom nodded miserably. "You know how she is with her anxiety. We can't take risks. We've decided it's better if we cancel. Just for now. We'll do something for you later, when things are calmer." Later. Calmer. Words that had been used to bury every boundary I'd ever tried to set. My phone buzzed on the counter. A friend. "So excited for tonight. What should I bring?" "Party popper." I didn't pick it up. I just looked at my parents. At the fairy lights we'd hung together. At the half-chopped onions that suddenly smelled like nothing. "We're canceling," Dad said, as if repeating it would make it feel less like betrayal and more like logistics. "You understand, right?" That sentence. Again. Something in me stopped. I realized, standing there in my own kitchen, that this wasn't about today's party. It was every blanket, every bike, every "she's not okay. You be the bigger person" shrinking itself into one sharp point. I could hear myself answering the way I always did. "It's okay. I get it. Don't worry." Those words were right there, queued up on my tongue. But this time when they tried to come out, they got stuck. Instead, what came out was quiet. "Okay," I said. My mom's shoulders dropped in relief. "You're such a good girl. We'll make it up to you, I promise." Dad nodded. "We knew you'd understand." Smiled. Not because I was okay. Because I had just made a decision. They thought I was agreeing to lose another night to Anya's moods. What I was really agreeing to was leaving. Not dramatically. Not with bags thrown out the door. Quietly. Like someone slipping out of a movie they've already seen too many times. I walked back to my room, closed the door and opened my closet. If my 18th birthday wasn't mine, fine. My future would be. I didn't cry right away. You'd think I would. 18 cancelled birthday. Your sister isn't in a good place. All of it sitting there like a weight on my chest. But instead everything went quiet. The same way it does right before a storm hits. In my room, I shut the door and leaned against it, listening to the muffled sounds of the house. Kitchen drawers. Anya's door closing. My parents' low voices. Life adjusting itself around her mood. Again. I looked at my bed. My desk. The faded poster on the wall. The stupid fairy lights I'd bought with my own money and twisted around the window frame. The room I had grown up in suddenly looked like a set. Not a home. Stage. And I realized, if I stayed, I'd be playing the same role forever. The understanding one. I pulled my suitcase out from under the bed. The blue one with a broken zipper on one side and a sticker that said, "Handle with care," that no one ever took seriously. I opened it slowly. "This is dramatic," a voice in my head said. "You could just stay. Get over it." Another voice replied, quieter but sharper. "If you stay for this, what won't you stay for?" I started with practical things. T-shirts. underwear rolled tight into the corner. Then the sentimental stuff. The magazine with my first published story. The stupid plastic trophy for best essay in 5th grade. The Polaroid of me and my best friend Nina on the bus sophomore year. Pulling faces. I didn't pack everything. That's how I knew I meant it. If this was just a tantrum, I'd shove my whole life into that suitcase like a threat. Look how ready I am to go. But this felt final. I picked only what belonged to me. The version of me that existed outside this house. My phone buzzed again. Nina. Need me to come early? I can help set up partying face. My throat tightened. I stared at the text for a full minute, then typed. Hey, change of plans. Party's off. Family emergency. I'll explain later. 3 dots. You okay? Took a breath. Not really. But I will be. I tossed my charger into the suitcase and zipped it as far as the broken side would go. Then I grabbed my backpack. Laptop. Toothbrush. The cheap little bottle of perfume I'd bought just for tonight because I wanted to feel grown. I paused at the mirror. My hair was still messy from sleep. I looked like a kid about to run away. So I did one small petty thing for myself. I got ready anyway. Not for them. For me. I put on the dress I'd bought for the party. Not fancy, just a deep green that made my skin look warmer and my eyes a little brighter. I did my eyeliner slowly. Hands surprisingly steady. Dabbed on lipstick. Put in the earrings my grandmother had given me when I turned 16 and said, "For when you decide who you are." When I was done, I looked like a girl who had somewhere important to be. And I did. Open my door. The house felt different now. The decorations were still up. My name banner drooped slightly at one end. The tape losing grip. In the kitchen, Mom was packing things away. The big serving dish she'd planned to use sat empty. She turned when she heard me. Her eyes flicked over the dress, the suitcase, the backpack. Her face went pale. "What are you doing?" "I'm going out," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. Sounded older. Tired. "With all of this." She gestured weakly at the suitcase. "Where are you going dressed like that?" "Somewhere I'm allowed to exist without checking your inventory of Anya's emotions first," I said. "Don't worry. You can tell her the party is fully cancelled now. She doesn't have to be uncomfortable." "Lara," she hissed, glancing toward the hallway. "Don't talk like that. She's struggling. You know her attacks. Her attacks. Her anxiety. Her moods. Everyone had vocabulary for her pain. Mine